Hey guys, it's Tara from FirstTouch NPL. I'm here with Owen from OTS. I'm here with Magnus, the FirstTouch NPL owner, and our special guest, Sergio Malfara from Mamre Football Academy. Now, the first question I have for you, Serge, is how did you get to this role, and what does a day in a life look like for you?
First of all, welcome to Mamre. Thank you for coming across. Essentially I started a few years back just as a coach in the academy. Yeah. I'd just finished off a season with Western Sydney Wanderers as the W League assistant coach. Yeah. And just came in to do some coaching. Got a job at the school as a teacher's aide, so just going around classrooms helping students that needed a bit of additional help. And then just by being here, things started to open and became the assistant head of football and now the head of football and head of sport. So, good. Yeah, and then typically in my days, we start at about 6 o'clock. I get in, 6:15. We start setting up the sessions with the coaches, a bit of a debrief, bit of a chat, and then first sessions are done. Then go into the school, do my second role, which is the head of sport role as well. So I do that for the whole school, and then off to Sydney FC in the afternoon. Oh,
nice. Obviously, you just mentioned Sydney FC. How did that role come about, and what's your journey towards that Sydney FC coaching role?
Yeah, it's been a long one. So I started at SD Raiders, just coaching in the SAP, a club that I spent about 9 years at, one that I hold close to my heart. Did a lot of stuff there. So coached at the SAP, now JDL, did youth, coached first grade, did a bit of women's stuff as well, coached the futsal there. And about 2 years ago, just felt like I needed a bit of a change. Yeah. Kind of left the club on really good terms and still keep in touch with a lot of people there, which is, I think for me, super important. Did a year at Football New South Wales in the TSP program. Yeah. When I was lucky enough to coach at the Nationals, and then, funny enough, received a phone call from Sydney FC, which initially I thought was one of my mates pulling my leg. We thought it was a bit of a joke. Didn't believe it at start, but now look, it was a great achievement for me in my little my career so far.
To get there, that's good. Obviously, this question now, I'm just going to relate it back to these guys. How do you feel about these guys when they do their filmings for the players? What do you think about overall that system and what they do coming into games on the weekends and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think what you guys do is awesome. I know growing up, we never had anything like this, and I think now when I get to training and around the grounds, you just hear, oh, they're here, and you kind of look around and go, who's he? What are you talking about? Scouts? No, OTS and FirstTouch. And I think it just gives all players, or at all different levels, just a platform to kind of showcase what football is. And I think it's more than just NPL and A-League. It's also the grassroots, and I think it's a really good touch to the NPL space.
That's good to hear. Obviously, you guys are wearing the beautiful jerseys. When did they just came in this year, a new sponsor this year, which is good to hear. I'm going to ask you, Owen. I was talking to you guys before the shoot. When did you guys all start this, and how did this come about? The idea of it all.
It's just really started with me and my best mate Anthony. We started coaching together about 4 years ago at grassroots at Prospect. Yeah. And then we made our way to AYO and thankfully into the NPL system this year. And really all it started with was, all right, we're coaching, let's document it. And that's where On the Sidelines comes from. We were two blokes on the sidelines teaching our way football should be played. Yeah. And then it just took up from there. Who wants to see two old blokes coaching on the sideline? Let's showcase the players. And that's what really football's about. It's about the players, it's not about us. And
Yeah. And obviously, you guys know Magnus. I've already had a podcast with him. But how did the connection start between you guys and obviously doing your roles? I should probably give both of you guys the mic, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I think these two reached out to me, and they were like, they just hit me up. They wanted to see what it was all about. And then ever since then, it's been good. Good collabs,
And stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah. With Serge, Magnus had a good question. It was just a question about you as a coach perspective. When you see players, who do you look for to pick? What do you think stands out for a player for a trial and stuff like that?
So I think, let me go back to you. Is it my personal opinion, or is it based on a club that I'm at?
We'll go personal opinion and a club that you're at too. Can you do both two answers?
Yeah. So I think on a personal note for me, being of South American background, being Uruguayan, being our parents are Uruguayan Argentinian. If I'm on a pitch first and foremost someone who just leaves the heart on the pitch, and that could look like many different things, right? Chasing the ball down, winning the headers, getting stuck in, being vibrant, being loud, like dominant on the field. Yeah. And then with the ball, I like a bit of flair. I like someone who's not scared to make mistakes, someone who gets the ball and takes someone on and loses it and goes, you know what, give it to me again, I'll go again. And then, I think different terminology, but maybe a game changer, I think you can call it that. But essentially for me, it's just someone who if you're sitting like on the sidelines, funny enough, you're sitting there and it just makes you just jump off your seat going, oh, who's that? Look at this, you know what I mean? I think that's what gets me going. And not just on the weekend at NPL, but also on the world stage. I think they're the players that you want to see, the ones that you want to, pay your money for to go and watch. And then your second question, when it comes to recruitment, obviously it depends on the environment you're in. SD did things a bit different to Sydney FC for various reasons. But essentially, the clubs that I've worked at, been fortunate to work at, it's just been models, things that they want to see out of players, and then obviously gone and look at players and games and seeing how they fit into the way that they want to do things. Yeah,
good to hear. Just to tie into back to Mamre again, how do you try to load players, management, with their loads and stuff like that, and make sure players don't get injured, obviously, because you're running a program, but most players go back to the NPL teams after. So how do you try to deal with players and manage them, obviously, so they try not to get hurt and stuff like that?
Yeah, great question. I think one that, I often speak to TDs about on the weekends and whatnot. Essentially, like I said, I've got a really good relationship with Nick, and I have for a long time, Nicky Cole from SD. And we designed this program to kind of give the players the opportunity to do things that they wouldn't necessarily do at their club football. So a lot of isolated practices, your finishing, your crossing, your first touch, your passing, where, and maybe you can beg to differ, but at club level you haven't got much time to do that. You're more, team models, trying to get a certain style of play. Again, clubs do things differently. Like I know at Sydney we do things different to at SD. But obviously we just look at what games that they've got coming up. I'm constantly talking to players in regards to that type of stuff as well, and if they've got a game midweek then they don't train with us. Friday sessions typically are really low for us, preparing them for the next day, which most of them play on Saturdays. So essentially it's just it's been something that we're constantly evolving and trying to cater for what they do on at the club land.
Is there a difference between the way you coach here in the school program and within your NPL club?
Yeah, another good question. Yes and no. I think for me, my biggest thing and my biggest belief is that a coach shouldn't change depending on the environment. So I am who I am, and what you see Serge you get at school is the same Serge you get at Sydney FC, for example. Obviously, there's different outcomes. So essentially at Sydney, I'm trying to develop or assisting in developing what could potentially be the next best youth player coming through the ranks. And we want to do that at school as well. But I'm massive on the fact that at school there's a sense of enjoyment too, right? You're kicking around with some of your best mates, not just only at training, but also at recess and lunch under this stadium that we have here. I think Tara can vouch for that. I think when it comes to school, I want to win everything. I want to really be competitive. But again, there's got to be that sense of enjoyment because in the day you're playing with your best mates. Yeah. What do you reckon, Tara?
100%. Obviously, when I go play with my NPL seasons, yes, I have fun, but there's all that pressure. Am I going to start on the weekend? I'm going to play well. Who's coming to watch me play? I want to go to a higher level. But I feel like when it's at school, it's more like, okay, these are the memories I'm going to keep for life. I'm playing with my mates, I'm going to have fun. Which also adds on to the NPL 5s league that you're starting. I feel like also that takes pressure off the seasons because the NPL 5s league will allow us to just take a breather from our seasons and just be able to showcase our skills on a thing where we're just kicking ball with our mates, which just gets back to why football is so fun in general. So yeah, that's what I think.
I had another question as well, because obviously you're the Sydney FC coach, so there's a lot of players in that squad that would be individual players in terms of very skillful players, very technical. How do you go about coaching when you've got a bunch of individual players that are individually skillful? How do you turn that into a good team?
Yeah, so essentially what I will say is the environment at Sydney allows the team to flourish, if that makes sense, without going into too much depth. But they're all individuals, they're all there on their own journey, but essentially football is a team sport. Pardon me, and you need your team. So you can have 11 of the best players in the state, but essentially if they're not playing well together, you're not getting results on the weekend, and no one's looking at you. So I think the way that Sydney FC has set up the academy, yes, it allows individuals to flourish, which is the main job of the academy, but in essence, it still has a big team emphasis on it. So, to be honest, I've been really, really privileged to get a really, really talented group, one that's been together for a lot of years, and one that I've coached a few of them in the past at SD. I've played against them multiple times, and they're a really, really strong group. So I think my job has been a little bit easier coming in because they're already a team in essence.
Obviously, I have a question now. Just a quick fun one. What do you prefer more? Do you prefer the Mamre fun side of it, or back to Sydney where you have to get the business done? What do you prefer more, coaching more?
Do I have to choose one?
Yep. You have to choose one, but describe both too.
Nah, I can't choose one because I think I like both hats. Yeah. I love competitive. Like I said, being South American, I want to win everything. Yeah. I think you in South America you follow your belief, your faith, and you follow football. So I think for me, at school, I'm super lucky to get both, right? And then there's that essence of, yes, we want to win every competition we enter. CIS Cup, your Senior FC Cups, your futsals. Yeah. But there's that enjoyment factor. And I think as a coach, you get that as well. But obviously at Sydney, it's about the next level. It's the professionalism. It's coming in and you're seeing seeing Sky Park, and you're going, every time I walk in, a bit of the goosebumps. You're going, wow, this is what I'm working with. And you deliver a session, and the players are just absolutely buzzing, and you're seeing the talent go through. And look, I've only been there for a short time, but you see the pathway, and you see the players that are coming into the academy, going through the ranks, and getting sold overseas, and that excites me as well. So I guess in essence, both.
Yeah. That's a good answer. You saved yourself from getting in trouble now. Just a question also. I hope no one gets upset out there, but who is the best player you've coached ever? I'll let you give a top three. I'll let you give a top
questions,
three.
Man.
Mate, he's putting me under the pump. Look, it's been 10 years of a lot of talented players. I think there's been there's a lot. I think first up, really, really early on, Matthew Barco, absolute talent and a half. Just probably one of the silkiest players on the ball. It was almost just sit down, let him do his thing. Like, you almost didn't want to coach him. Adrian Monge was another one. Absolute baller. His brother, his brother, yeah. So an absolute another baller. And then most recently for me, one that stands out, and again, I'm coaching a very, very talented group at Sydney, but Akol Akon, I think, was an absolute find and a half. I remember getting a phone call from Nick saying, "Look, Serge, I think we found one at Ep4." And I said, "Oh, Nick, come on, man, we always find one at Ep4, and there's always one." He goes, "No, this one's special." And there's another one here. But now, look, Akol was one that we looked at, and straight away you go, wow. And I think that 14 season, not just him, but Dion Cole was in that squad, Daniel Relevsky, Massimo Moroni, Thiago Ascension, Liam at the back, Zave Mish. It was just one of those seasons where, sometimes you're in trouble and you can sense it as a coach, but sometimes the less I said was more, and I just kind of put him on and sat back and go, okay, watch this, and it was just, so I think now he's probably the most talented that I've seen going through the ranks.
Wow. Well, I just want to say this quickly. We did a podcast with Akol, and I just want to say, out of 10 times of him trying to dribble past me, he can only do it once. I'll give him one.
He's not here to respond to that.
He's not here to respond to that, but I'll give him 1 out of 10. Obviously, with MPL 5s, I just want to touch on it quickly. What is the goal of that, Magnus, and what are you trying to build with that?
Yeah, so obviously, players have their own MPL seasons, so they're playing week in, week out, and then, they've got the way the team plays, so it's very kind of structured, and it's kind of what we've kind of gotten used to. But then players like to get that sense of street football, have some sort of something separate from MPL to be able to express themselves, express their skills, and play with mates, whatever it is, whatever the reason is for them, and then we'll just see what happens.
So Owen, I got a big question for you actually. From 13s to 18s, do you have a predictions list of who's going to win the league for each age group?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, 13s at the moment. Look, it's too early to tell. What are we? Week 3, week 4?
Week 3, yeah.
Pretty early to tell, but there's obviously a few teams that stick out, especially in the 14s. You can't go wrong with Sydney FC under 14s.
Yeah.
49 unbeaten.
Yeah, that's unreal.
But you know that's going to make teams more hungry to beat them, so they got to watch out. 13s. Last week we went and watched Sydney FC Apia again. They're probably the top 2 teams to beat.
Yeah.
And then you got SD. That's like a dark horse that will come in. They're a pretty good side. 15s. I think Wanderers are looking pretty tough up there.
Yeah.
16s, not too sure. 18s. 16s and 18s, you just never know. They're at that age where they all develop and anyone can win. And I think that's the beauty with NPL. Like on any given day, any team can win, especially in the Division 1 space. So.
Last question, Serge. How does Mamre allow you to do your job so well? Like how does it allow you to be better at your job, and how do they support you to do it?
Yeah, so with Mamre, in my role at Mamre, essentially I'm doing football every day, which I think, and this is something that I say to all the kids, regardless of what level you're playing, the more contacts you have off the ball, the more you're playing it, the better you're going to get naturally. And I think for me, coaching, the fact that I can coach every day at Mamre is making me better. And there's obviously different challenges around that. Being the small school that we are, it really helps us, or we have to get creative in the way that we recruit, the way that we design sessions as well. But again, super supportive school, super lucky to have found a school that's allowing me not only to pursue my career professionally, but also in sport, in football. And yeah, like I said, forever grateful for the school for giving me the opportunity to not only run the head of football, but also the head of sport roles combined.
I know you said last question, but I think this one's pretty beneficial to all ballers, especially with your experience as a coach. For anyone that is at grassroots, wants to take it to the next level in NPL, or want to go from 2 to 1, like what's some advice you could give young ballers to get that extra step up?
That's a great question.
I think you have to believe in yourself. One of my biggest quotes is, football is a game of opinions, and what I might think isn't a player that's up to my level, someone else does, and that's all you need. You need a bit of platform. And I think we used this story the other day at assembly, like Akol Akon was playing for Nepean 2.5 years ago. And now he's just went and scored a hat-trick for Australia in Dubai. That's 2.5 years ago. Like, crazy. And I think you've always got to have a bit of arrogance in you, saying, you know what, no, I am good, regardless of what you think or you think or you think. And I think it's across not just football, but life in general. Because you never know when someone's watching. You never know when your moment might come. But again, if you're not confident in your own ability, that moment might come and it might just pass you just like that. And I think it's something that I carry with myself. Like, obviously, I try to be the best person on and off the pitch as I can, and like to be known for that. But essentially, when I cross those white lines, there's a little bit of arrogance about me because, mate, I think I'm the best out there. And I do that with everything that I do, especially football. So yeah, good question.
Essentially, you got to want it, pretty much.
Got to want it, huh? Okay, so you mentioned that you coached at the W League for Wanderers. What do you think about women's football in Australia and how that's developing?
Oh, it's just blown up. It's incredible. Like, you're watching Matildas now, and wherever they go, it's sold out stadiums. It's televised. Everyone's watching. I know there's a big emphasis on women's football here, or girls' football here at school. If you're talking about ballers, we've had some absolute ballers come through the ranks here. Even before my time, when Julie Kennedy and Tiana Gauchi were involved, Mary Stenick-Floody, El Abdul Massi, Savannah Murray, currently Tiana Fuller, who's killing it in the A-League, scoring goals for Mariners off the bench and starting now, and she's only just turned 16. So, look, I said, the good thing about being at the school is I don't just coach boys, I coach girls as well. I coach from kindergarten all the way to year 12, and it gives me that sense of enjoyment, but also, again, challenges me to try and get my message across to different types of age groups, which I think that's the biggest, or sometimes the biggest challenge in coaching. It's how do you get your message, how do you deliver what you want to see out of players, and how do you want to help them develop. And again, when you're working with a vast variety of students, it helps you get that message across. So, yeah.
Yep, just another question also. With your coaching style, when you're coaching boys and girls, do you switch it or do you stay like usually the same? Like you mentioned how you stay like you're always yourself. But with girls, is it a bit different, or with boys, is it a bit different?
No, I think I'm always me. I think if you ask most people that have been coached by me, they'll probably give you the same or roughly the same answer. I think the message or the way that you deliver your message might change. Yeah. And again, and it varies with JDL and youth and seniors. But essentially, the way that I am as a person doesn't change. Yeah. I think that's key, and I think it's been something that I've always stuck to, and it's something that early on with Nicky Carl we spoke about it, like what does coaching look like, what is beneficial, do you try and put a coach's hat on, and essentially no, not really, you just be you. I think being genuine is what gets you over the line and what people actually get attracted to, because I think if you start putting on different hats, then what are you? Are you the one that likes to yell and scream and play defensive block, or are you the one that you know is quiet and no, you just be you, and whatever is you, that's what's going to get you to where you want to be.
Like we do with the boys, who's the top 3 best girls you've coached?
Oh, it's a tough one too. I think first and foremost has to be Claire Hunt. So we signed her at the Wanderers. She's just come off the back of playing for Canberra. She was riddled with injuries, couldn't stay on the pitch, and then but always had this self-belief. Like if you ever spoke to her, we had video meetings, and she always said, "No, I'm playing for Matildas. I'm playing for Matildas." I'm like, "Well, good. You know, you don't want to take that away from her." And look at her now. You know, she's at Tottenham at the moment. I still keep in touch with her when I can. So I think for me, if you're talking about professional, I think she's been one that kind of showcases everything that I speak about. You know, confidence in yourself and believing in yourself first and foremost. El Abdulmasi, I've known her for a long time. We coached her at SD from under 10s, I believe. I had her. Played with the boys. And again, just one that really stood out early on. And if you're talking about current, Tiana Fuller's next level. Just the way that she can maneuver the ball, the way that she strikes the ball, but just really humble, down to earth, works hard, and she's always asking questions. I think is the biggest trait that she has. She just wants to learn. So, yeah.
So what's the story behind these fresh kids? Why have we got them on?
Well, Mamre's on the move, let me tell you that. So we're growing for the future. There's lots of things happening, and I think the fact that we've partnered up with a global brand being Puma, it just allowed me to give the academy a sense of eliteness, if that's the right word. You know, the home jersey, the purple, it's different, it's vibrant. You know that you're playing Mamre when you see purple now, not just at a local level, but when we go to your nationals and your states for futsal, that's going to give us a point of difference. And then if you have a home jersey, you have to have an away jersey, and hence the white one, which was a bit more classical, a bit clean, something just to differentiate the home and the away jersey. But essentially we're trying to grow, we're trying to move, and for me, we're very lucky to have Puma on board to help us do that.
I know you mentioned how Mamre's on the move. I don't know if you can get in detail, but is there any plans or anything that you can say that you're planning to do for the Mamre Football Academy?
Or scare the other schools with.
Scares the other schools.
No, we're humble. We don't scare anyone. We just play. Now, look, exciting things. Yeah, there's potentially trips coming up that we're talking about. Not just domestically, but internationally. And new sites coming as well, which is going to be exciting to freshen up the brand of the academy. More competitions, new coaches coming in. Like we're freshening it up, and I think the fundamentals of the academy have been there for nearly 10 or 15 years, I think, and they've been really good. The base has been really good. The people that started the academy made a really conscious effort of making sure that it was sustainable, and for that I'm forever grateful. And now it's just about building off that, not forgetting where we came from, but then what's next, and what can we do to make not only Mamre Football Academy, but Mamre Anglican School the best place to be for a young sportsman.
I go to Mamre, of course. I just want to ask, are you guys going to be at some of our games? If I invite you guys, would you come and film us for sure? Or is that a yes or not?
Oh, 100%. Like our last game that we came to was actually a Coles game. the last school game we went to, and it was pretty fire, and the guy scored 3.
Yeah.
Like, and with half his pants down. So, like, you know how he is, flow state all the time. But, school football, in my opinion, has been neglected, even when I played. Like, there was no prestige behind it, and now, hopefully, with our help...
Now it's just pure passion.
Now it's just pure passion, and we're bringing back the school football.
And I think, funny you say that, I think one of my biggest, I think I say it before every game. Yeah. Essentially, the 70 minutes that you play there for school is your lunchtime footy. Because I've seen, honestly, like, I've been coaching here for 3 years, and I've seen some amazing stuff on the football pitch. Tyra scored a bicycle kick today, right? And it's like, sorry, where did that come from? But the things I've seen at lunchtime footy, my goodness, like, it is next. Sometimes I'm on duty and I'm just going, like, are we serious? Like, bicycle kicks, flicks, if you want to call it tiki-taka. And sometimes it's not even the football kids that produce some of these magic moments. And I think that's what school football is. Going back to that enjoyment factor. And again, like you said, it's just passion. It's 70 minutes to play with your best mates in a brand new kit. You know, obviously we want to try and win, but it's it's that sense of enjoyment. So massive. You
got to set up a video camera or something here. I need to see this bicy.
It's you got to subscribe to it, mate. It's you got to pay for it.
Subscription model. Yeah.
You got to see it in real life. You know what I mean? Well, Serge, another question for you: if someone wants to come to Mamre Anglican School, and obviously not just for our education but for the football program, what do they have to do?
Yeah, so essentially it's an email to me at football@mamre.nsw.edu.au. Make contact, we'll initiate a trial, and then it's just speaking to the enrolment team in the office who do an amazing job at making sure everything's organised. Honestly, without them, my job would be so much harder. And then, it's just about making sure that it's not just football, it's about the school as well. I think I'm massive on that. We tie both in really, really well together, as Tara can attain for that.
Yeah, coming into my final years here at Mamre, it's obviously been amazing. I love the football program, I love the education, everything about it. So obviously, thank you guys for coming on shoot today. Thank you, Mr. William, for this opportunity to obviously use this beautiful venue and being allowed to film here. Stay tuned, guys, there's more to come.